The slum was a labyrinth of narrow, dusty streets, lined with makeshift shacks and piles of garbage. The air was thick with the smell of decay and the sounds of life struggling to survive. Among the chaos, a 12-year-old boy named Malik moved with purpose. His dark skin glistened with sweat as he carried a sack of recyclables over his shoulder. Malik was the man of the house, helping his mother and younger sister make ends meet by doing odd jobs around the neighborhood. Despite the harsh conditions, Malik was known for his quick wit and kind heart. He often shared what little he had with others, earning the respect and admiration of those around him. His mother, Aisha, worked long hours as a cleaner, while his younger sister, Zara, dreamed of going to school one day. Malik's life was hard, but he never complained. He had learned early on that resilience was the key to survival. As he walked through the slum, Malik couldn't help but dream of a better life. A life where his family didn't have to struggle just to put food on the table. But for now, he focused on the task at hand, determined to make the most of what he had on the other side of town. Billionaire entrepreneur Richard Grayson was preparing for another day of high-stakes business. At 50 years old, Richard was a man of power and influence, known for his cold, calculating demeanor. He had built his empire from the ground up, but somewhere along the way, he had lost touch with his humanity. His life was a series of board meetings, luxury cars, and penthouse suites. But deep down, Richard felt a void that no amount of money could fill. He had become a prisoner of his own success, isolated from the world and the people in it. His only companion was his assistant, Claire, who had been with him for over a decade. She was the one person who saw through his tough exterior, but even she struggled to reach him. As Richard sat in the back of his chauffeured car, staring out at the city skyline, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. He had everything money could buy, but he felt empty inside. Little did he know, his life was about to change in a way he could never have imagined one fateful afternoon. Richard's chauffeur-driven luxury car sped through the slum on the way to an important meeting. The narrow streets were unfamiliar territory for the driver, and as he navigated the chaotic maze, he lost control. The car skidded, crashing into a construction site. The impact caused a scaffolding to collapse, trapping Richard beneath a heavy metal beam. The driver was knocked unconscious, and Richard was pinned, blood streaming from a gash on his forehead. A crowd gathered, but no one dared to help, fearing the unstable structure and the potential danger. The sound of the crash echoed through the slum, drawing Malik's attention. He dropped his sack and ran toward the commotion, his heart pounding. As he pushed through the crowd, Malik saw the billionaire trapped under the beam, his face pale and his breathing labored. Malik hesitated for a moment, his mind racing. He knew the situation was dangerous, but he couldn't just stand by and do nothing. Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward, ignoring the murmurs of the crowd. "We have to help him," Malik said, his voice firm, but the crowd remained frozen, their fear holding them back. Malik realized he would have to act alone. Malik quickly assessed the situation, his sharp mind working to find a solution. He spotted a long metal rod nearby and grabbed it, using it as a lever to try and lift the beam. The weight was immense, and Malik's arms trembled with effort. Sweat dripped down his face as he pushed with all his might, but the beam barely budged. Richard groaned in pain, his eyes fluttering open. "Hold on," Malik said, his voice steady despite the strain. "I'm going to get you out of here." Richard's eyes met Malik's, and for the first time in years, he felt a glimmer of hope. Malik's determination was unwavering, and he refused to give up. He adjusted his grip on the rod and pushed again, this time using his entire body weight. The beam shifted slightly, and Richard managed to free his arm. "Almost there," Malik said through gritted teeth. With one final, desperate effort, Malik lifted the beam just enough for Richard to wiggle free. The billionaire collapsed onto the ground, gasping for breath. Malik dropped the rod and knelt beside him, checking for injuries. "Are you okay?" Malik asked, his voice filled with concern. Richard nodded weakly, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice barely audible as the paramedics arrived and tended to Richard. Malik slipped away, disappearing into the crowd. He didn't want any recognition or reward. He had simply done what he thought was right. Richard watched him go, a strange feeling stirring in his chest. For the first time in years, he felt a connection to another human being. As he was loaded into the ambulance, Richard made a silent promise to himself. He would find the boy who had saved his life. The paramedics worked quickly to stabilize Richard, but his mind was elsewhere. He couldn't stop thinking about the boy who had risked his life to save him. Richard had always believed that people were motivated by self-interest, but Malik's selfless act had shaken that belief to its core. As the ambulance sped toward the hospital, Richard knew that his life would never be the same back at his penthouse. Richard couldn't stop thinking about Malik. He instructed Claire to use all available resources to find the boy. Claire was surprised by Richard's sudden interest but didn't question it. She knew better than to argue with him. The search led them back to the slum, where Richard's car had crashed. They interviewed residents, showing them a sketch of Malik based on Richard's description. It didn't take long for them to find someone who recognized the boy. "That's Malik," an old woman said, pointing down a narrow alley. "He lives with his mother and sister over there." Richard and Claire made their way to Malik's home, a small, dilapidated shack at the end of the alley. Malik was outside, helping his sister with her homework. He looked up in surprise as the billionaire approached. "You," Richard said, his voice filled with emotion. "You saved my life." Malik shrugged, his face flushing with embarrassment. "I just did what anyone would do," he said modestly. Richard shook his head. "No, you did something extraordinary, and I want to repay you." Richard explained his plan to Malik and his family. He would provide them with a new home, away from the slum, and cover all of Malik's education expenses. Aisha was overwhelmed with gratitude, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you," she said, her voice trembling. "This means everything to us." Malik, however, was hesitant. He didn't want to leave his friends or the only home he had ever known. But he also knew this was an opportunity to give his family a better life. After a long discussion, Malik agreed to accept Richard's offer. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity as the family prepared to move. Richard personally oversaw the arrangements, ensuring that everything was perfect. He even hired a tutor to help Malik catch up on his studies before starting at his new school. As the moving truck pulled away from the slum, Malik looked back at the place he had called home for so long. It was a bittersweet moment, but he knew that better things lay ahead. The Grayson family moved into a modest but comfortable home in a quiet neighborhood. Malik enrolled in a prestigious school, where he quickly excelled. His natural intelligence and determination impressed his teachers, and he made new friends who shared his love of learning. Richard kept a close eye on Malik's progress, taking a personal interest in his education. He even started visiting the family regularly, bringing gifts and offering advice. Over time, Richard began to see Malik as the son he never had. The two spent hours talking about everything from science to philosophy, and Richard found himself opening up in ways he never had before. Malik, in turn, looked up to Richard as a mentor and father figure. Their bond grew stronger with each passing day, and Richard felt a sense of fulfillment he hadn't known in years as the months passed. Richard and Malik grew closer. Richard shared stories of his own struggles and triumphs, while Malik taught Richard the value of kindness and humility. The billionaire found himself changing, becoming more compassionate and less focused on material success. Claire noticed the transformation and was delighted. "You found something worth more than money," she said one day. Richard nodded, a rare smile on his face. "Yes, I have." Malik, too, was thriving in his new environment. He had always been a quick learner, but now he had the resources and support to reach his full potential. He joined the school's debate team and quickly became one of its star members. His confidence grew, and he began to dream bigger than ever before. Richard was there every step of the way, offering guidance and encouragement. Together, they were a formidable team, proving that even the most unlikely partnerships could lead to extraordinary results. Despite his new life, Malik faced challenges. Some of his classmates were jealous of his success and tried to bully him, but Malik stood his ground, using his wit and courage to win them over. Richard was proud of Malik's resilience and offered his support whenever needed. "You're stronger than you think," Richard said one evening as they sat on the porch. "Never let anyone make you feel otherwise." Malik nodded, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for the man who had become like a father to him. The challenges only made Malik more determined to succeed. He knew that he had been given a rare opportunity, and he was determined to make the most of it. With Richard's guidance, Malik learned to navigate the complexities of his new world, always staying true to himself and his values. Years later, Malik graduated at the top of his class, earning a scholarship to a prestigious university. Richard was there to celebrate, his heart swelling with pride. "You've made me so proud," Richard said, his voice filled with emotion. "I know you're going to do great things." Malik smiled, knowing that he owed much of his success to Richard's support. But he also knew that his journey was just beginning. As he walked across the stage to receive his diploma, Malik felt a sense of accomplishment and hope. He had come a long way from the slum, and he was ready to take on the world. Malik went on to study engineering, using his skills to design innovative solutions for underprivileged communities. He never forgot his roots and often returned to the slum to help those in need. Richard continued to support Malik's endeavors, funding projects and providing guidance. Together, they worked to create a better future for others, proving that even the smallest act of kindness can have a profound impact. Malik's work didn't go unnoticed. He was recognized with numerous awards and accolades, but he remained humble, always crediting Richard and his family for their support. Richard, too, received recognition for his philanthropic efforts, but he knew that the real reward was the impact they were making. Together, they had created a legacy that would endure for generations. One evening, as Richard and Malik sat on the porch of their home, Richard reflected on how much his life had changed. "You've taught me so much," Richard said, his voice filled with gratitude. "I was lost, but you showed me the way." Malik smiled, knowing that their bond was unbreakable. "We've both come a long way," Malik replied, "and we're just getting started." The two sat in silence, watching the sunset and thinking about the future. They had faced many challenges, but they had also achieved so much, and they knew that, no matter what lay ahead, they would face it together. Malik's story inspired others in the slum to believe in the possibility of a better future. His success became a beacon of hope, showing that with determination and support, anyone could overcome adversity. Richard's transformation also had a ripple effect, as he used his wealth and influence to create opportunities for others. Together, they proved that change was possible, one act of kindness at a time. The community center they had built in the slum became a hub of activity, bringing hope and opportunity to those who needed it most. Malik often visited, sharing his story and encouraging others to pursue their dreams. Richard, too, became a familiar face, using his business acumen to create sustainable solutions for the community. Their partnership had created a ripple effect that would continue to spread, touching countless lives and inspiring others to make a difference. Years after Richard's passing, Malik continued to honor their shared vision. The foundation they had created thrived, providing opportunities for thousands of underprivileged youth. Malik often visited Richard's grave, sharing updates and expressing his gratitude. "You changed my life," Malik would say, his voice filled with emotion. "And together, we've changed the world." As he walked away, Malik knew that their legacy would live on, a testament to the power of kindness, resilience, and the unbreakable bond between a billionaire and a boy from the slum. Their story was a reminder that, no matter where you come from, you have the power to make a difference. And that, Malik knew, was the greatest legacy of all. Malik and Richard worked together to build a community center in the slum, providing education, healthcare, and job training for residents. The center became a hub of activity, bringing hope and opportunity to those who needed it most. Malik often visited, sharing his story and encouraging others to pursue their dreams. Richard, too, became a familiar face, using his business acumen to create sustainable solutions for the community. The center was more than just a building. It was a symbol of hope and a testament to the power of collaboration. Together, Malik and Richard had created a space where people could come together, learn, and grow. It was a place where dreams could take root and flourish, and where the future was filled with possibility. Malik's work didn't go unnoticed. He was recognized with numerous awards and accolades, but he remained humble, always crediting Richard and his family for their support. Richard, too, received recognition for his philanthropic efforts, but he knew that the real reward was the impact they were making. Together, they had created a legacy that would endure for generations. Their story was featured in newspapers, magazines, and even a documentary, inspiring people around the world. But for Malik and Richard, the greatest reward was seeing the lives they had touched and the difference they had made. They knew that their work was far from over, but they also knew that they had laid the foundation for a brighter future as the years passed. Malik and Richard's bond grew even stronger. Richard became a grandfather figure to Malik's children, sharing stories and life lessons. Aisha and Zara also thrived, their lives transformed by the opportunities Richard had provided. The Grayson family had become a true family, united by love and shared experiences. They celebrated holidays together, shared meals, and supported each other through life's ups and downs. Richard had found the family he had always longed for, and Malik had found the father figure he had always needed. Together, they had created a legacy of love, resilience, and hope. Malik often reflected on the lessons he had learned from Richard. "You taught me that success isn't just about money," Malik said one day. "It's about making a difference in the lives of others." Richard nodded, his eyes filled with pride. "And you taught me that true wealth comes from the heart," Richard replied. "We've both learned so much from each other." Their partnership had been a journey of growth and discovery, and they had both emerged stronger and wiser. They had learned that success was not measured by material wealth, but by the impact they had on the world and the lives they had touched. As Richard grew older, he began to think about his legacy. He knew that Malik would carry on their work, but he also wanted to ensure that their impact would continue long after he was gone. Richard established a foundation in Malik's name, dedicated to creating opportunities for underprivileged youth. Malik was touched by the gesture, knowing that it was a testament to their shared vision. The foundation would continue their work, providing scholarships, mentorship, and resources to those in need. It was a way to ensure that their legacy would live on, inspiring future generations to make a difference in the twilight of his life. Richard looked back on his journey with a sense of fulfillment. He had started as a cold, calculating businessman, but Malik had shown him the true meaning of success. As he sat on the porch, watching Malik play with his grandchildren, Richard felt a deep sense of peace. He had found what he had been searching for all along: a family, a purpose, and a legacy that would endure. Richard knew that his time was limited, but he also knew that his work would continue through Malik and the foundation they had created. He had made a difference, and that was all that mattered. Malik often shared his story with others, using it as a reminder of the power of kindness and resilience. "No matter where you come from," Malik would say, "you have the power to change your life and the lives of others. It just takes one act of courage." His words inspired countless people to believe in themselves and to strive for a better future. Malik's story was a testament to the power of hope, determination, and the human spirit. It was a reminder that, no matter how difficult the journey, there was always a way forward. Years after Richard's passing, Malik continued to honor their shared vision. The foundation they had created thrived, providing opportunities for thousands of underprivileged youth. Malik often visited Richard's grave, sharing updates and expressing his gratitude. "You changed my life," Malik would say, his voice filled with emotion. "And together, we've changed the world." As he walked away, Malik knew that their legacy would live on, a testament to the power of kindness, resilience, and the unbreakable bond between a billionaire and a boy from the slum. Their story was a reminder that, no matter where you come from, you have the power to make a difference. And that, Malik knew, was the greatest legacy of all. Malik's story inspired others in the slum to believe in the possibility of a better future. His success became a beacon of hope, showing that with determination and support, anyone could overcome adversity. Richard's transformation also had a ripple effect, as he used his wealth and influence to create opportunities for others. Together, they proved that change was possible. one act of kindness at a time. The community center they had built in the slum became a hub of activity, bringing hope and opportunity to those who needed it most. Malik often visited, sharing his story and encouraging others to pursue their dreams. Richard, too, became a familiar face, using his business acumen to create sustainable solutions for the community. Their partnership had created a ripple effect that would continue to spread, touching countless lives and inspiring others to make a difference as Malik stood at the community center. Watching the children play and learn, he felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He had come a long way from the slum, but he had never forgotten where he came from. Richard's legacy lived on through the foundation, the community center, and the countless lives they had touched. Malik knew that their work was far from over, but he also knew that they had laid the foundation for a brighter future. Together, they had created a legacy of hope, resilience, and love. And as Malik looked out at the smiling faces around him, he knew that their story would continue to inspire generations to come. The ripple effect of their actions would spread far and wide, proving that even the smallest act of kindness could change the world. And that, Malik knew, was the true measure of success.